Behind these prison walls are women whose names become known for the worst possible reasons. Some claim innocence, others admitted to their crimes. All are awaiting the same fate. Welcome back to Sisters Unfiltered. Today, we're taking a closer look at the lives of women on death row, the crimes that shocked communities, the investigations that led to their convictions, and the legal battles that continue long after the verdict. We'll explore who these women are, what led them to death row, and the stories behind some of the most notorious cases in America. If you enjoy true crime documentaries, backed by research and respectful storytelling, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you will never miss a new case. Now let's step inside one of America's most controversial places, death row. This video is intended for educational and documentary purposes. The goal is to examine the facts surrounding these cases while remembering the victims, their families, and the lasting impact these crimes have had on everyone involved. Christy Michelle Scott is an Alabama death row inmate convicted of murdering her 6-year-old son, Mason Scott, by intentionally setting fire to their family home in 2008. Prosecutors argued that Scott started the fire to collect approximately $175,000 in life insurance benefits after purchasing a new policy on her son shortly after the fire. Scott has consistently maintained her innocence, claiming the fire was accidental. Patricia Blackman is an Alabama death row inmate convicted of the 1999 capital murder of her 28-month-old adopted daughter, Dominica Bryant. Prosecutors presented evidence that the toddler suffered extensive abuse, including a fractured skull, broken bones, bruises, and a shoe print on her chest before her death. Because the victim was under the age of 14, the crime qualified as capital murder under Alabama law. In 2002, a jury voted 10-2 to recommend the death penalty, and the trial judge imposed a death sentence. Blackman has maintained her innocence and has pursued multiple appeals over the years, but her conviction and death sentence have remained in place. She continues to be housed on Alabama's death row. Tiara Capri Gobble is an Alabama death row inmate, convicted of the 2004 murder of her 4-month-old son, Phoenix Parrish. Prosecutors argued that Gobble fatally beat the infant, who died from severe blunt force head injuries and other signs of abuse. In 2005, a jury found Gobble guilty of capital murder because the victim was under the age of 14. The jury recommended the death penalty by a 10-2 vote, and the judge imposed a death sentence. Gobble has continued to challenge her conviction through the appeals process, but remains on Alabama's death row. Heather Lavelle Keaton is an Alabama death row inmate, convicted for her role in the abuse and deaths of her boyfriend's two young children, 4-year-old Natalie DeBlaise and 3-year-old Chase DeBlaise, in 2010. Prosecutors argued that the children suffered prolonged abuse, starvation, and torture before their deaths, and that their bodies were later hidden in separate locations in Alabama and Mississippi. In 2015, a jury found Lavelle Keaton guilty of capital murder in Chase's death and reckless manslaughter in Natalie's death. The jury recommended the death penalty by an 11-1 vote, and she was sentenced to death. Although she has appealed her conviction and sentence multiple times, including to the U.S. Supreme Court, her conviction and death sentence remain in effect. Shonda Nicole Johnson is an Alabama death row inmate convicted of orchestrating the 1997 murder of her estranged husband, Randy McCullough. Prosecutors said Johnson persuaded her then boyfriend, Timothy Richards, to shoot McCullough because he was expected to testify against her in a bigamy case. McCullough was fatally shot outside his home in Walker County, Alabama. In 1999, Johnson was convicted of capital murder because the killing was committed to prevent or retaliate against a witness in a criminal proceedings. She was sentenced to death and remains on Alabama's death row after multiple appeals. Richards pleaded guilty to murder and received a life sentence after cooperating with prosecutors. Lisa Leanne Graham is an Alabama death row inmate convicted of orchestrating the 2007 murder for hire of her 21-year-old daughter, Stephanie Shea Graham. Prosecutors said Graham recruited family acquaintance Kenneth Walton, provided him with a handgun, and arranged for him to kill her daughter. Shea's body was later found along a rural highway in Russell County, Alabama, after she had been shot multiple times. Wendy Andriano is an Arizona death row inmate convicted of murdering her husband, Joe Andriana, in 2000. Prosecutors said she poisoned him with arsenic-laced food before repeatedly striking him with a heavy object and stabbing him to death. They argued the killing was motivated by financial gain, including life insurance proceeds and mounting debt. In 2004, Andriano was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. She has maintained that she acted in self-defense after years of abuse, but the jury rejected that defense. She remained on Arizona's death row while continuing to pursue appeals. What are your thoughts? This is part 1, and we will be back with the part 2. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.